Okay, in the next part of angles, we need to know the shapes, okay? Just now, we have learned about obtuse, reflex, and all those angles. Now we need to know the shape. Let's start with the basic shape. Basic shape that everybody know since they are in preschool will be a square. Okay? When you're in preschool, a square is just a square. But when you're in secondary school, you need to know the definition of a square. A square, all side is the same. All side has the same length. Okay, I'll draw one more rectangle. Rectangle, two side is the same length. So these two is the same length. These two is the same length. For square, all side is the same length. The similarities between a rectangle and a square is all of them make 90 degrees. Okay, 90 degrees. So this is a square and a rectangle. Next up, before I tell you that the total angles in a four-sided figure is 360 degrees, I always teach my student about common sense. Let's say I make a random four-sided figure. Why is the total angle inside a four-sided figure 360 degrees? For a square, it's obvious, right? 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90. Same goes for rectangle. But for random shape, why does a square or four-sided figure make up 360 degrees? See, if I split this into two, a four-sided figure is actually made up of two triangles, correct? So, the total angle inside a triangle is 180, right? So, all this inside this is 180, right? Inside this is also 180, right? Okay. 1, 2, 3 angles make up 180. 1, 2, 3 angles make up 180. That's why the total angle inside a four-sided figure is 360 degrees. Next up, I'm gonna teach you two things. Firstly is called the rhombus. Rhombus and parallelogram. They may look the same, but they have one thing that is distinctly different. I'll draw first. Rhombus looks something like this. Rhombus is made up of two pairs of parallel sides. Okay, I hope this is as accurate as I can get. So this and this is parallel. This and this is parallel. Okay. A parallelogram is also made up of two parallel sides. So it will look something like this. Okay. This and this is the same. This and this is the same. So the distinct difference between a parallelogram and also a rhombus is two things. Let's say I have diagonals that bisect. What do I mean by that? I'll use a different color marker. Diagonals that bisect. Okay? Like that. These are diagonals that bisect, right? The difference between a parallelogram and also a trapezium is, if for, not a trapezium, sorry, a rhombus is, this one will make up 90 degrees. Okay? But for a parallelogram, this one doesn't make up 90 degrees. That is the two distinct difference. Rhombus make up 90 degrees here. Parallelogram doesn't make up 90 degrees here. That's the first thing that you need to know. The next thing that you need to know are the angles, okay? So this angle, use a different color pen. This angle is the same as this angle. Opposite. This angle is the same as this angle, opposite. Same goes for parallelogram. This one and this one. This one and this one. So always remember the opposite angle make up the same. Sorry, what I mean is the opposite angles are the same. Alright. So the last thing that you need to know, this angle and this angle make up 180. This angle and this angle make up 180. Think of it as common sense. Can these two angles make up 180? Just by visual looking, you can know that this is more than 90 degrees, right? And this is more than 90 degrees. If there are two numbers that are more than 90 degrees, if you add them together, it will be bigger than 180. So it doesn't make sense. Always think of common sense. Okay? So same thing as parallelogram. These two angles make up 180. These two angles make up 180. Okay? Rhombus, parallelogram. The last thing that you need to know is trapezium. Trapezium is very easy. Trapezium is just a pair of parallel opposite sides. What do I mean by that? It usually looks like this. Okay. So these two is parallel. Okay. But the same concept applies. The total angle inside a four-sided figure is always 360 degrees. Why? Because if I cut them into two, it's actually made up of two triangles. Okay, the concept must always be the same. So that concludes angles inside a four-sided figure. I hope everybody understand and can continue to do your questions.